Ed Orgeron talking about Vandy.
Coach Mason is a great defensive coach. I studied his stuff at Stanford. Kenichi Udeze, who played for me and coached here at LSU last year, is coaching the defensive line. They're very well coached. They're tough. They played Texas A&M down to the last. They threw a pick going in to score. A very tough, physical football team. I think they're much improved.
You know Udeze a little bit. Give me your thoughts on stylistically what you get from a Derek Mason defense.
Well, first off, their defensive line played fantastic. They actually graded out the highest in the Power 5 last week, so I thought they did a really nice job. And typically you're going to have a hard-nosed defense you're going against. They're going to be limited at what they can do coverage-wise. Corners and safeties is where they struggle. Front seven's always going to be their strength. They typically have a good middle Mike linebacker that's a short tackler, kind of a thumper. That's what he looks for. He wants a thumper in the middle, really good defensive line, and he'll give up some in the secondary, which is what they've done, which is what LSU was able to exploit a year ago.
Ed Orgeron, on that Derek Mason defense.
First of all, the way their defensive line is playing, they're playing a four-man front. They're not a 3-4. They're a 4-2-5. They're very multiple. It all starts with their defensive line with Dale, and I don't know how to say his last name, but he's number 10. He had 7 tackles, a couple of sacks. He's a tremendous player. He's going to be an NFL player. And also Andre Mintz, defensive end. Those two guys are excellent football players.
It's kind of the scouting report, if you will, per Ed Orgeron. Like you said, all of the guys are up front for Vandy. On the other side, he had to comment on LSU's third down defense. The Tigers gave up 3rd and 9 or better 6 times in the game against Mississippi State. Obviously, Vandy doesn't have that kind of offense, but the third down defense got to be tightened up.
Third down is very critical. Today was a big third down day, and it was a combination of scheme, it was a combination of protection, it was a combination of making decisions, and that's the money down, man. You got to make it. And then on the other side, we gave up too many plays on third down, especially that 3rd and 20. We gave up some touchdowns on third down, so we've been working all week on a much improved third down defense.
This is supposed to be where LSU can eat on third down and long with the pass rushers they've gotten. And this is without really knowing what they had in Allegay, or at least we didn't know what they had in Allegay. They were supposed to be able to rush the passer and didn't. I know schematically Mississippi State makes it difficult on you, but we didn't really see that in first game. So the Stingley addition aside, what other adjustments are you making for third down defense?
The third downs, like Coach O said, that has to be fixed. You cannot allow offenses to gain opportunities like they did in 3rd and longs. And the pressure rate was actually pretty high, but you can't just be close. It can't just be a pressure. You got to start getting to the quarterback. And I thought they did, at times, they did a nice job of that. But it comes down to covering your receiver. When you have certain situations, you have to play to the situation. Like on a 3rd and 20, you have to know exactly where your drop zone is. You can't do it short. There's a reason your drop zone is where it's supposed to be. So all those things, man, it's the money down, like Coach O said. Man, you got to concentrate. You got to be where you're supposed to be. And we didn't see that. There was times where you're out of place. We have to miss assignments on third downs if you're LSU. And you have the ability to play a true freshman quarterback in Ken Seals this week. This is a guy that coming out of high school, was a 3-star guy. He was in, I think, 21st or 22nd as far as pro-style quarterbacks coming out of high school. Okay, this is your opportunity. If you don't feast on a freshman quarterback going against you, and this is really his first time, last week to play at that level, and he goes out there and does those type of things on your third down, well, you got a bigger problem than we thought you had. You have to gain confidence. You have to feast on a young quarterback and make him make bad decisions. You're not playing a veteran potential 1st, 2nd round pick like you played last week. Not an excuse, but you have to grow considering who your opponent is this week.
The news continued to be good on Derek Stingley Jr.
First of all, Derek was sick on Friday night, and our overall thought process was his health and his safety first. It wasn't about the game for Derek and his family, and thank God he's okay. He practiced in a gold shirt yesterday. He practiced today. As far as I know, he's going to be ready for the game.
News not as good on Dare Rosenthal?
Dare Rosenthal right now is very doubtful. He didn't practice again today. I don't think we're going to have him.
So we'll see Coil Wire in the Cam Wire, excuse me,
yeah.
in the starting left tackle spot. Another question we had going into the game, I thought he was one of the guys that LSU could least afford to lose because I didn't think that, I don't know what the depth looks like behind him, is Liam Shanahan. Certainly they had some breakdowns on the offensive line. And there was that one particularly bad play where they came through the A-gap between he and Chase and Hines. But overall, what did you think of Shanahan's game?
I thought it was okay. Without knowing the calls, it's tough because there was some situations. The A-gap, like you mentioned, there was one when you had a B-gap, and I don't know what the call was. The guard was late getting over there. He was helping Shanahan. There was one time where they slid the opposite way of where everyone was coming, and there was just free releases at Miles Brennan. So was that Miles making the call? Or was that Liam making the call? Without knowing the game plan, it's hard to tell. Those are the things that I think you have to get fixed more than anything. At no point did I think he was overpowered, overmatched. That was one of the things that we talked about coming from the Ivy League. But you got to get in the right situation at the right times because, look, that's the mental part of offensive line and playing center. The old cliche, you're the quarterback of the offensive line. Well, they say that for a reason. So it's your responsibility to get the guys in the best possible spots. You can't have free releasers.
Coach O, on Shanahan's game.
I thought Shanahan played pretty good for his first game. They made some mistakes, especially down on the goal line. They ran bare Mike, and we let the Mike right up the middle. We should have changed the protection, but it's in a hurry-up offense, so that was kind of on us. But I thought overall he did a good job. Not a great job. He needs to get better at finishing blocks and being more physical. But I think it was a little different for him playing in the SEC than Harvard for sure. So I'm proud of him.
Explain to me in layman's terms what he's talking, the specific adjustment that's supposed to be made there
On the bear front?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think how I can say this so I get in trouble on radio. Derek Dooley used to call a bear front 1,000 pounds of rear end. Let's put it that way. 1,000 pounds of rear end between the guards. But when you have that, so if you have that much in between your guards and you have 3 defensive linemen in between there, well, when you bring that, and obviously you add another one, we have to squeeze everything down. When you have a bear front, it's all about squeezing it down, and you go over that one gap. You go inside there with the guards in the center, and then you don't allow that A-gap blitzer. Then the guard ends up picking up the A-gap blitzer, and the tackle who's squeezing down, well, he gets the guy that was over you, and typically you're going to drop the other guy because if you're bringing that much pressure up the middle, that end on that other side is going to drop into coverage. And so when you squeeze down like that, he doesn't become a part of the play. And even if for some reason that they brought that other guy, well, your quarterback now can see that he throws hot off of that guy coming because they're bringing one more than they can cover.
So whose adjustment is that? Whose call is that?
Typically, it'd be the center's. Okay. Typically, that would be the center's call. He would call the squeeze play. Now, the quarterback absolutely has the ability to do it, but if you have a center that's in sync and in chemistry with everybody else, he makes that call.